welcome back to my channel. It's Ashley with At Home with Ashley, and this week we are going to make over a filing cabinet to become a planter. I am very excited about this because big planters are very expensive, but if you use a filing cabinet, it's like $15. So we headed to our Habitat for Humanity and we luckily found one, and it was $15, so affordable. And what we're gonna do is just like take out the drawers for the inside and then put it in my backyard. One of the tricky things with this project is how do you fill this huge container? This is what I suggest. So in the very bottom, I like to do a lot of sticks and like compost, stuff like that. I like to put cardboard in there and get it nice and wet. That'll eventually break down, so that's great. And then we use a lot of compost, and it makes for a really good rich soil. So we put that in as well. And all of this so far is things that we've had from our house. And then we use less than 1 bag of garden soil at the top. I had 2 climbing roses that I bought specifically for this area, so we transplanted them into the filing cabinets, and thank goodness they did good with the transplant. I was so worried they would die because we did it a little bit later in the season, but they look really good. And then later we've added a few more things like peonies and flowers and strawberries, so it'll just be nice and full because you can fit a lot in these and they are so gorgeous. And the plan is that the climbing roses will go up either side of the house, which should be really pretty. I want to show you the filing cabinet that I've already done. And I did this one last year, and I was really nervous when I did it because metal kind of contracts and expands with the different seasons, and we have really harsh seasons, hot summers and cold winters. But it's been up more than a year, so it's gone through all the seasons and none of the tiles have come off. It looks great. So I am confident that I can do another tile painting project, but this time we're gonna do more rainbow, and we're gonna do rainbow grout. So I think this will be cool. Okay, I'm getting ready to start painting the tiles. I'm using these square tiles, and a box of 100 of these is $16. Super affordable. You need 1 box for the project, but I feel like the price is good. And then you also want to make sure you are using the right paint. So I'm using a porcelain paint. It's called Pebeo 150, and I'll link it in the description. And what you do is you paint with it, and then you can bake it in the oven. So even tiles like this that have a shiny finish, it'll stay on there. I use this also on some dishes that I painted, and those go through the dishwasher every day. And I made that like 8 years ago, and it still looks pretty good. So that's why I'm like, this project will work just great. At first, I was really thinking about doing just like 1 big flower on each tile. I even bought some stencils to use. Once I actually started painting, I was like, I think I want these to look like Delft tiles. I just love that style so much. I've been to the Delft factory. I think that's part of it too. I love it. So I started with a bigger paintbrush. I transitioned to like a really fine one and started putting some detail in it, and I really liked those. We'll see how it looks when they all go on though. And so for the pink one, I had pink paint, and then I moved on to the orange. In that one, I had to mix the colors because I only had red and yellow, so I added some white in there so it's a little more creamy. And I did add a little bit of pink because I have this older pink paint that I need to use up that kind of looked orange when it was baked. Anyway, so I mixed that up, and then I started painting those as well. And it's kind of fun to make these. I would Google like Delft tile orange and get some inspiration pictures and kind of do my own take on it, or I would look at the ones I made for my son's fireplace. And it was really fun to just like paint what I felt like and listen to a podcast. Very enjoyable process. So I just like kept going through each of the colors, mixing colors where I needed to, and then just painting them. Like I said, I'm doing rainbow orders, so going pink, orange, yellow, green, blue, and they're looking really great on each of them. I have a favorite. I'm painting an extra so that if one breaks, I have an extra, which I think sounds smart. They all need to dry for 24 hours before I can bake them, so I'm gonna let those dry overnight. Okay, after the tiles have dried for 24 hours, it's time to put them in the oven and bake them. You're gonna turn the oven to 300 degrees and leave them in for 35 minutes. This sets the tiles so the paint won't scratch off, and also kind of gives it this enamel finish that's really pretty. I baked mine on a baking sheet so they didn't break them in the process, and then later it was nice to have them on the sheets because they were easy to transport. I didn't have enough cookie sheets to have them all stay on them, so I did put some on like a drying rack, and that also worked great. Today it is tiling time, so I get to see how all of the tiles look on the planter, and I can't envision it perfectly in my mind, so I'm excited to see it come together. Okay, here's the planter. We're getting ready to tile, and this left side, the front, ready to go. But the side, look at the bottom was kind of hollow. So, I mean, try to look at the bottom before you buy one, but we're gonna use plywood to cover it up and hope that will work. Okay, so we are cutting the wood to fit the bottom of the planter. It is 18 inches by 26.5 inches. Make sure to measure yours because there's filing cabinets come in a bunch of different sizes. So we're using the circular saw for part of it and then the table saw. And then we're just attaching the wood to the filing cabinet with some screws. And then we decided we should also use construction adhesive. So we went back and glued it on and then screwed it on. So that is working really great. And next we're figuring out the layout. So really we're just taking the tiles and seeing how many go across and where a good starting point is. And we're doing that on the front and the sides. And then it's just time to glue on the tiles. So one thing I did a lot of research on this project is what to use for tile adhesive. It needs to work outside with metal and tile, so that makes it tricky. Normal tile adhesive does not work for this application. So I chose Gorilla Glue construction adhesive. This isn't sponsored at all because it's rated to work on both of those. I bought 5 bottles and used all of them. I used 4 totally and 5 just a little bit, but it's good to have extra. I used this exact same product on my filing cabinet I tiled a year ago and it worked great. So I totally recommend it. And another note I wanted to say is you don't have to hand paint your tiles. You could just buy tile and put it on, buy a beautiful decorative tile. That would be so cool. So when we tiled, we just started from the corner of the filing cabinet and we're using some bullnose tile as well to kind of clean up the edges. So that works really nicely. And then you're going to apply the construction adhesive to the back of each tile, put it in place, and just move your way across. It goes really fast. I was kind of off screen putting on the construction adhesive and then my husband would place it. And it was just so fast. It slowed down a little bit when we had to do the cut tiles. We just used a tile saw to cut these. And then you kind of want to let the tile dry for a second before adhering it to the filing cabinet. Once the planter is all tiled, you want it to sit for 24 hours so the adhesive can set. And it's looking amazing. Okay, today is the day we're grouting. So I need to take out the spacers because you need spacers between these bullnose ones. I am a little bit nervous about grouting because we are doing a rainbow ombre look. So this will be pink, orange, yellow, green, blue. So I've got to mix up different colors of grout and I'm going to use dye, fabric dye, to mix it. I've never done this before. I've seen people do it and I love the look of colorful grout. So instead of just doing one color, which I probably should have, I'm going overboard. So wish me luck. For the grouting, what I'm doing is I'm starting with pure white grout. And the reason for this is if you do gray or brown, it's going to be tinted or toned, those different colors. And I want more pure colors. So I'm starting with white grout, and then instead of water, I'm starting with some dye. And then in addition to that, I'm adding water because if you just did dye, it would be very dark. And I like me some pastel colors. So a little dye, a little bit water, and you mix it together. And the first few times I tried this, it was too runny. I watered it down too much. I needed more grout. So that was my problem at first, and I was very frustrated because it was just dripping. But once I got it nice and thick, it did much better. And the reason it's kind of annoying when it goes wrong is because you need to mix it, wait 5 minutes, and then mix again. So if you get it wrong, it's just it sets you back. So as I would finish one color, I would grout it, and then I would move on to the next color. So I started pink at the top and then did orange. And again, I would just mix it until it was a good mixture and a color I liked. And then I would put it on, then yellow, then green, then blue. And the thing I would call this project is, in addition to rainbow grout, which is really cool, it's another way to make grouting more painful. So if you want to do colorful grout, it's amazing because you can change it any color you want. Any color there's dye, you can change it that color. I love that. And I would definitely suggest doing something like all of the grout in your bathroom pink. That would be so cute, or blue or green or whatever. But the changing of colors, it just slows things down because you mix a tiny bit, you put it on, you mix it again, and it just takes a project that would be 10-15 minutes and makes it 2 hours. I don't regret it, but I'm just telling you, it makes it slow if you decide to try rainbow grout. Once the last one was on there. We let it all dry for 15 minutes and then washed it all down. I let it dry a few hours and then I cleaned it all off with a microfiber towel. And I also caulked the top of the cabinet where there was some wood showing. And now the filing cabinet is done. Let me show you what it looks like. I'm really excited with how it looks. I think it kind of looks like a quilt, and the grout is very subtle with this because it's pretty small grout lines, but I don't mind that. I think it's really cool, and when you look up close and you notice all the fun grout colors, it really adds to like that ombre look I was going for with the painting plus the grout. It all adds up to look really fun and special, and I love doing something like this outside where you don't see it all the time, so when you do see it, it's like a fun surprise, and you're not going to get tired of it because you're not around it all the time. But I figure you might as well have fun with an outdoor planter, and I love that this started from a $15 filing cabinet, and now it's something super custom for my house that showcases my art, showcases my love of rainbow, and mostly it looks really pretty with the flowers. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already, please subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you like the rainbow grout look, if it was worth all the extra pain, all the extra like few hours of work I probably put into it. Let me know what you think.